Guys, this is Andrew with another episode of the Deal Fighters podcast, and we're going to talk about why wholesaling might not be for you. Yeah, sounds like a little clickbait, but it might be true, and we're going to talk to our friend Martine Richardson, who's up in Virginia, talking about building wealth through rentals. So stay tuned, and you might want to get a notebook out, because this is going to be a good one. Deal Finders, we are back with another episode of our Deal Finders podcast, and I have an old friend, somebody that I met years ago, didn't know anything about her or whether or not we would ever see each other again, but like way back, I feel like in 2018, 2019, something like that. We met through mutual friends and mentors, through whatever, podcast and the support calls and things like that. And so Martine is still rocking this real estate game. And, I feel like we're like the old people now, but you've been doing it for a ton of years. So we have Martine Richardson out of Virginia, and she's going to tell us why she hates wholesaling. So y'all buckle up for the rest of like getting into it. We're going to have some fun. It's all progress, not perfection. Right, Martine?
That's right.
So if you're listening to this, you can go watch us, and you can see her motto in the background on YouTube, Deal Finders YouTube channel. So Martine, thanks for being here. Can you just tell us a little bit about you and where you are?
Sure. So, for allowing me podcast, I really do appreciate it. I am humbled by this, that I'm able to share my experience with your audience. And it's my hope and my goal today that whatever I am saying, that your listeners take action and change their lives for the better, because that's what we do as investors. We must take action so we can live a better life. So that is my hope from this podcast. So, my story is, I graduated college. And I always thought that, once I got my degree, I was going to get a job that I really enjoyed. I had worked all through my teens, and I hated every job. But, I had to work to make some money. So I get this job out of college. It's in D.C. area. And, man, this sucks. I still hate these jobs. I eventually got fired from the place. I was looking for what my life to be looking like when I graduated, was that I would have time freedom. I would be making a lot more money than I was making. To put it to making the most amount of money I had ever made in my lifetime.
Yeah.
But it wasn't enough. So I ended up moving back to Richmond, where I wanted to be all along, so my family lives. I lived with my aunt, and I'm thankful that she let me live with her, because if she wouldn't have let me live with her, I would have been homeless, frankly. But I didn't have any other place to go. It wasn't like I was running anything like that. And I've always wanted to have time and money. I grew up, my mom had a lot of time, but she didn't have any money. And I was, okay, we got one of these things right, but there's another thing that we need to get right. So my dad, he noticed the entrepreneur spirit in me. He's like, you ought to get in real estate. And I'm like, how am I in real estate? I don't have any money. Listening to this story, you see that I don't have money. So how am I going to do that? And they're smart, you'll figure it out. Well, he was correct.
I love that.
I started hanging around people that were like me. We hadn't reached the goal yet, but we want for our entrepreneur spirit. Someone brought a book. It was called How to Quit Your Job in 19 by Sean Terry. And I read the book, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I really didn't do anything with it. But I got that first job out of college. I bought a car, And I remember when I got fired, I was like, how am I going to afford this car? I have a car payment. How am I going to afford this car? Yeah. So years down the line, that car gets repossessed because I don't have to pay for it anymore. And the next day, I started taking real estate seriously. I lied to you not. I needed something to happen to make me take action. And that's what happened, and how I got started.
That's a phenomenal story. I feel like there's a lot of people that feel your pain or have been down that path. And I know because I've talked to people where they hate that job, but they stay at that job because it's paying them, and they can't. If they lose that job, then they can't afford the car, right? You didn't really have a choice. It was made for you, and they did it for you. And then you find real estate, where a lot of people get, they just get stuck where they are, and so they never really get into real estate. They look at it from the sidelines or dream about it or, watch the HGTV. You were forced to make some massive, imperfect decisions, right? And just go and take action. So what does that mean? You said you started taking real estate serious. What was that like?
So, the jump start of the story was I didn't have a car. And my aunt that I was staying with also didn't have a car. So his friend's mom borrowed her car for a weekend. I said, well, I'm going to make the most of this, because how I looked at it is, it takes some money. I could at least get my car back. This is how I looked at it. It's how small thinking I was thinking at the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But, anyway, I went to an auction, a real estate auction, and property, and the property was packed. So many investors were there. And my goal was to find a mentor. I went into this auction, and I'm like, I'm nervous. I'm afraid. I know the stuff that these people know. Like, I'm just a beginner. I'm new. So I built up the courage to talk to somebody to see if they'd want to be my mentor. I figure if they're at the auction, they'll be good enough to be a mentor. So I asked this guy, and he says, no, I don't do that anymore. People, they waste my time. But I have a deal that I want to sell. And I'm in my head, I'm thinking I'm not really interested in this deal. I really just want some help. So later on, he said he didn't want to be my mentor. I drove up to his house. Not his house. That's creepy. I drove up to his office. I drove up to his office. And his intent was to show me the deal. And look, I'm not interested in that. I really want you to be my mentor. I need someone to guide me on doing what to do. And he's like, okay, well, if you want to be if you want me to mentor you, I need you to go out and get 100 houses, driving for dogs, and then call me, because he wants. So, listening, if you don't know what driving house is, it's basically you're going in neighborhoods and you're trying to find the vacant part. You're trying to go to decent neighborhoods. You want the ugly, abandoned, beat up house. So I went driving for dollars. I called him back the next day. I said, I got the 100 hot next, because I knew I only had a car for a week.
Yeah, that's right.
So he was like, oh, you're serious.
Oh.
That's when he really started trying to, I mean, I will say it still took a while for me to like really get it. I didn't getting like a deal under contract about 2 years later, to be honest with you. It took a while. Because working with them just gotta be a deal. Like, I need some money. So I ended up going to get it. And then I came back. Always stuck with it. Like, when I didn't have, I would come back and, come back to real estate. Because I'm listening as people are telling me that they're doing this and it's working. They're finding deals. It's no way everybody's mine. Yeah. It's just no way. So I'm just like, I just stick with this. Yeah. until it works for me.
I love that. So, I mean, it takes determination. I mean, it's one of the things that we talk about in our community. And if you guys are listening, you don't know about our community's Deal Finders Club. We're on Facebook, but also locals. We have local meetups every week. And in our community, we talk about the 5 Ds, and one of them being just distraction, disappointment, and then needing the determination to get through that, right? Because this is not an easy business. Yes, the process can be simple if you follow the steps that have been laid out in front of you. It's wild that people try to find new ways to do this and get creative. And yes, creative financing, that's not what I'm talking about. But like, if you just follow the steps of someone in front of you, you can literally do this business without any brains. Like, it's just like the yellow brick road and the scarecrow. Like, you just go down those steps. But it's hard, right? It takes time sometimes. So I applaud you for freaking it out and staying with it. And then when you got started, you're saying you were finding deals. This is something I like to ask everybody on our podcast, because I've kind of taken a poll, right?
Okay.
Where or how did you find your first real estate investment deal, and what kind was it? Was it wholesale, flip? What was it?
So I have to admit that it was wholesale, but
yeah,
I have some things to say about that. So I ended up getting, like, I'd say right around in like 2 months or so. I was trying to stick with this for like 2 years, and nothing was happening for me. And in 2 months or so, I was able to get 5 under contract. And to be honest, the reason I got those 5 properties under contract is because I used to listen to Wholesaling Inc. And that's when was the one, he was on cast. He told you exactly what to do, and I just went out and did it. But what I've noticed is that every deal starts with a motivator. And I know a lot of people talk about motivated sellers in terms of, well, you know, a distressed property or situation that the seller goes really true. But what's the secret sauce is that something is going to happen so they take action. The reason I'm with those 5 deals is because Richmond was having a program that if you had an old beat up house that you were doing work at one point, you stopped doing work, and then basically the city drove for dollars for me. And if you don't do anything, I'm going to knock your house down and you the bill.
I love it. Thank you.
By this date. So basically, people, they're, oh my God, knock my house down. I don't have the money to fix it. I gotta sell it. So like people wanted to really, really sell their houses, which was really good for me. But you get from these types of people and different types of lists. Well, like I got fortunate that program was happening in my city, and I mean they may have it. It was called a derelict program.
Well, yeah. So let's just pause it there, Martine. I feel like you're trying to give people hope and encouragement. Say, just, you know, there's other ways to do it, but the fact remains is there are programs like that all over the country. Our city does it continuously. It's not a huge push, but our city says every single year, every single day. I mean, the code violation people are out there, and if your property's on the list for too long or whatever, eventually you rise to the demo list, and there's a demo list, and it's public. If you just go ask for it, you literally have to get up and go down there and ask for the list. But it's you know, sometimes you do the Freedom of Information Act, but it's available. There are cities everywhere that are compiling and driving for dollars for you, and they send letters to these people saying, hey, fix your house or we'll do it for you and charge you. And they'll even do small things like cut the grass. If they tell you to cut the grass once, twice, and you still haven't done it, they'll cut it and send you the bill.
Right.
That is a motivated seller. That's somebody we want to talk to. So what I want to highlight there I hope y'all are taking notes on this, because we just gave y'all like free chicken nuggets right there, right? That's like gold. Just go find you can find deals right there. But Martine, your first couple deals were right in your own backyard, right? Right in the city where you live, right, with free information. All you had to do was open your eyes, your ears, and your mouth, and you could find these deals right in your own backyard. That's what I'm preaching with the deal finders. You don't have to go across the country finding a new city. You don't have to create some crazy scheme or Facebook beautiful ad and stuff like that. Just look around in your own backyard, find the resources that are available. So I'm excited that you got those deals back then.
One thing I do want to add on that too, because it's a little bit important, is that I thought that if I was sending marketing to people, that I would have to only send it to them one time and they would love me and just, send their house to me. Yeah. But that wasn't the case. I was doing direct mailing. So I had to continuously mail the same list over and over, get more people to respond to me. And that, in addition to the city knocking their houses down, made people want to sell their house to me.
Absolutely. I love it. So that's where you started. That's where you got your first gigs going, and probably bought a car after those 5 deals, right? What? I did. Yeah. So what are you doing now? Because as we were talking before, and I know that might sound like clickbait, but Martine hates wholesaling. I'm going to tell you now, if you want to go back to one of my videos on Facebook, the headline was "Why I Hate Wholesaling." I think it's a different reason, but tell me what's the deal? What's going on?
So I think what I've noticed that people's mistake when they first real estate investing is that they're wholesaling because they think that that's their only option. They think that, I don't have any money, so I have to wholesale. That's not the case. Rich people don't wholesale. And I'm not sure why you got into real estate, but I know I got into it because I wanted freedom, my time. And I said I wanted time and money. I didn't want to create a job. I wanted time and money. But rich people buy and hold, So what I've done and what I learned, and I wish I did this from the very start, but I didn't, is that buy and hold properties and build freedom, pretty much buy my freedom from the jump. And I mean, everybody else looking, wish I would have kept those properties. They went up so blah.
Yeah.
And what I know now is that by buying and holding, it is truly granting me the freedom of time and the money that I want. So why wouldn't I have just that? It's because I didn't know.
Yeah, I love it. It's so true when you say rich people don't wholesale. Like, it is a lot of work, and the only reason wholesaling works is because there's inefficiencies in the marketplace, and there's a little bit of spread from between where sellers are willing to let it go and where the rich people are willing to buy it. Let's just put it there. It's the people that are buying and holding, or they're fix and flipping, and either one of those makes more than the wholesaler. Right? So in the end game, the wholesalers are squeezing in there, and there's an opening in that marketplace. And like you said, you did 5, right? And we've wholesaled a ton. We quit wholesaling 2 years ago, probably because we realized this. I don't know. But it's like there's a little space in there for wholesalers to squeeze in, but man, it's just not worth it when you get going long term. I think it's, like you said, if you want to get started and maybe you wholesale here and there for your friends and like, hey, I got this deal. I thought I was going to flip it, or I thought I wanted it and I don't. You can assign contracts. But wholesaling as a business, I'm with you, Martine. It's dead. It's no good.
Yeah, I think when I found that switch turned for me was I got my first rental property by accident. I kid you not, got it by accident. That got it by accident is because I always would go on people's houses. I would ask them, do you want a cash offer or would you take payments? And every time I ever asked, everybody always wanted the cash offer, right? Who would want payments? So I went in one guy's house. He said, oh, I'll take the payments. And I thought, hey, man, it's crazy. Nobody takes the payments. So since he wanted that, forced me to structure a deal where I would be giving him was a lease option agreement, and I did a sandwich lease with someone that wanted to move in, but I started getting rental payments from that role for work I did a long time ago, and I said, "Oh my God, how can I do more of these?" So I don't do lease options anymore. I tend to buy things using other people's, but it just opened my eyes to what can be. Because like at the time, I think my option to purchase that house was $35,000, and at that time that was a lot for that neighborhood. Right now, that house is worth $140,000.
Wow.
This is why you need to buy and hold.
Yeah.
I hope you are noticing that the real estate goes up. It would be, why work harder when you can work smarter? Let the asset do the work for you. I'll leave it at that.
There you go. I love it, Martine. Yes, get excited, get pumped up. So, you've been doing this for a while, and you kind of have a passion and a heart to tell people about this. So, you're doing that locally, or what does that look like? What is it that you're doing now to help people with buy and hold?
Yeah, so, I use my no money down system to help build my buy and hold portfolio that brought me freedom, which changed my life. I'm finally living I always wanted to live and teaching people on how to do the same thing. The communities that we have, one community we have is on Facebook. If you go to, facebook.com/the Freedom Inc., you can request to join. It's just 3 simple questions. It has like your name, email, and do you want a portfolio? We'll allow you in the group. And what we doing is we just encourage each other to buy, hold. If you need to surround yourself around people that are already doing it, and that's what we're doing. So that's what we do in that group. And it's committed to really trying to help people however I can. If anybody on this podcast is listening, if you feel it and you used it, and just any more information, or you just some help, or you're just stuck somewhere, feel free to just give. My number is 804-951-1333, and just text me. And I'll do any way I can. I'm actually let these texts. I don't have a team behind me or anything like that. Yeah. I'm looking at these texts, and I'm going to see how I can help you.
Yeah, I love it. I appreciate that. And y'all, we'll put the link to the group down below, and then, you gave the cell phone number, so I hope you're ready for some texts and some blow up.
I'm ready. If I'm a little slow to respond, it's because a lot of you guys are hitting me up.
That's right. That's what it's all about. So, Martine, this has been a lot of fun. We'll have to do this again. I know that there's so much going on right now, and you're building your business and growing and enjoying the freedom that real estate creates. Let's kind of wrap it up here with just some advice. What would you give our audience? A lot of people are trying to get those first few deals, right? And it's getting over the hump of getting those first few deals and then becoming a real estate investor. What kind of advice would you give those people that are just getting started?
So for the people that are just getting started, I think it's very important that you surround yourself around people that have already accomplished what you're trying to accomplish. I think that the best way to do is to go to your local real estate investor meetups.
Yeah.
Network with people, and I know you're new, so I know you're gonna go in, you're gonna feel you're probably nervous. I sure caught one to my first pyramids. I was, afraid of any of these people, but you just have to build up the courage, start talking to people. And the best way is to ask themselves, what do they do? And see if you can add value to them. They're looking for.
Yeah.
And see how you can add value to their lives. Because a lot of people that are coming to them, they want to just see what they get. Well, let me see what I can get out of this person, blah, blah, blah. They don't really care about adding value to people's lives. So to stand out, you see what they really need help with, see how you can help. And you might think, I'm just starting off. How can I help this experienced person? But you can always help by doing things for them. And in that process, like for free, in that process, you'll learn so much. So that would be my advice. Get around those people that are already at where you want to be.
I love that. That is such great advice. And, like I said earlier, we have meetups here in South Carolina. In Columbia, we meet up just about every week. So anybody that's local or within driving distance, you should come down. We have people from all over the state come. And it's just amazing seeing new people connecting with experienced people. And, we're given lessons and tons of free education and knowledge and information. And so, getting plugged into that, no matter where you are, helps you get over the fear and helps you get connected to somebody that's been where you are, and they can pull you along. Otherwise, you're trying to get up this hill by yourself, and it's a long, long way. It's tough if you try to do this business by yourself. So I appreciate that advice. I appreciate your time, Martine. This has been a lot of fun. We'll have to do it again. And I'd really like to dive into, how you're building your portfolio and where you're going with it, because that's the exciting stuff when you're building that wealth and living off of it. So until then, guys, this has been the Deal Finders Club podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, all the places. But definitely check us out on our Facebook group, Deal Finders Club. So it's REI Deal Finders on Facebook. Until we see you on the next podcast, y'all go out there and find a deal. See ya.
Thanks for listening to the REI Deal Finders podcast. You can find out more and apply to be a part of the REI Deal Finder community at reidealfinders.club.